this is Matthew Rathbun from EliteScoop.com and AgentTrainer.com, and today we're going to talk about Evernote for Realtors, and I'm going to be talking specifically about Evernote 5. And this is my second rendition of an Evernote video. There was one a few years ago for an older version, and it had some cool stuff, and it was kind of neat, but version 5 is just a whole new level. So let's kind of start at the beginning. First of all, this is going to be a much longer tutorial than the ones I normally do. So I'm not quite sure how long this is going to go, but I think it's best just to kind of move forward through it. However, I'm only going to touch on things that I think the average realtor will use. There will be a lot of other tools and resources and very nifty things that Evernote does, but I'm going to concentrate on things that I think are more practical for us. So Evernote is a free tool. There is an upgraded version. It's about $50 for the year to get extra storage and some really neat features like offline notes and things. I think it's well worth the $50, but with everything, I tell agents to go grab it, play with it, see if you're going to use it, and if you are, then you invest in it. But so for the most part, most of the things we'll be doing today are free for Evernote. Now, what Evernote is cross-platform. It works on almost all the mobile devices, all the Android devices and the iPad and the iPhone and Android phones, Blackberries, etc. And then, of course, on desktop computers through Windows and the Mac. I have tested on Windows 7, 8, and Mac, and of course on my iPad and iPhone, and it's fantastic. It works great on all those. I haven't had any problems or quirks. If you read through some of the notes in some of the app stores, one or two people might have a problem, but by and large, most don't. And it's important to work on all these different devices because we'll use them all, and you'll see why that is in a minute. Evernote is a cloud-based system, which means it's going to take your data, take your information, take what you're doing on your Mac or your PC or your iPad or your iPhone, and it's going to mash it all up online, on the cloud, so on the internet. So when I make a note or add content or do whatever I need to do, what we're going to talk about in a minute or so, it will then be available almost immediately, within a few minutes, to my phone or my iPad or my computer. See, so Evernote is a note-taking device or system, but it's really designed to help get you organized, to collaborate and share information, and make you a little bit more innovative, to stir a few ideas. See, we as realtors, we have a tremendous amount of information and data that comes to us all the time, from different passwords to classes to notes about clients, resources, tools. It's a ton of it out there. It's very, very difficult to keep organized. And I often talk to realtors and find out, some of their biggest problem is their best ideas they can't find, or they can't remember the piece of paper they wrote their password or their note on, or what that client information is. And the world's going paperless. And the agents who are trying to track this and keep a hold of their clients and information, it's becoming more challenging to do that, because you always want something to take a note on or add data to. So Evernote is going to solve a lot of those problems for us. And Evernote is, again, a very portable program. So this is a little screenshot of it on the iPhone. And what I'm going to do here is now that we've kind of introduced what it is, show you what it does. So again, this is intended to be an orientation to the product, not a how-to, step-by-step, do everything in the world with it. I'm going to show you what we do for realtors. So first and foremost, you're going to go to Evernote.com, and you're going to sign up for an account. So www.evernote.com, and then you're going to click over here to create an account if you don't already have one. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in by web because I already have an account. When I go in, this is the website that allows me to download the software and the applications and tools. On my computer, and you'll see there's several notes here, and I'm going to show you how this is practical for agents, and then some of the things that I use it for and I think are very practical in our practice. So I'm going to go to Evernote. I'm going to download and install the tools. And what you'll immediately see is that there's an app or a piece of software on your computer that allows you to pull up your notes. It categorizes the notes, but it's so much more than just a note-taking piece of software or application. So So I can go and look at a couple different things, and just to go through this platform here. And again, I'm not going to be able to break down everything in this video. We'll be here for 3 hours, but I will talk about a couple things here. So I have notes. I have notebooks, like folders on your computer. And each of those notebooks represents some different part of life. So I have stuff for work at my company, stuff for church, just random notes that generally means they need to be put somewhere, but that's where they are for now. I have notes for demos for the class, what we'll review today, pending posts or class materials, different blog posts I want to do or resources for training and materials I've yet to put together, and then training notes for classes I've taken on my own. Now this is very handy for a couple of reasons. First of all, on my iPad, I always have that with me, or even iPhone. I can quickly make notes about anything going on during the day. But those notes are categorized and tagged and easy to find and searched. So these are my notebooks. So I'm going to open up a notebook here. And I've got 2 different notes. I'm going to show you how to put notes together in a minute, but I'm going to show you what these are good for buyers right now. So the first one I'm going to have, well, let's start with the easy one. I have a pre-interview buyer information. So what I've done is I've put together a quick email with links to information, what my clients would need to give to them prior to us even meeting. So for example, here's a thank you here. I'll be able to fill in. I got a note here that I need to change the time and date for when we're meeting. A little bit of blah blah information about what our first meeting will be about. I have links to different applications that I want my buyer to download before we actually meet. So my iPad and iPhone app where they can search for homes, there's a link here. DocuSign Inc. so they can search for documents, iPayment for mortgage calculator, Easy Measure to measure rooms, iScape to add landscaping to it, some neat stuff. I have a link to my webpage. I also have, I'm in Virginia, and Virginia requires written agency disclosure agreements, in other words, buyer agency agreements before I'm allowed to show property. And that's kind of an obstacle to some buyers who aren't accustomed to that. So I'm giving them information here in this email, this introductory email. So here's just an email I set up for them for the first time we meet. I can add information here, and again, I'm going to come back to what that is. But the reason I have this as a note is for the sharing option. So just a kind of a precursor to what we're going to talk about, I've created this note, and now I can simply go into share. I can paste it to Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. I don't really want to do any of that. I want to email the note. So I have this note saved, so every buyer from here on out, I've got that pre-done email that I can just send them. And I can send that by clicking email note. And I can send it to my buyer. I can change the subject. I would not probably put pre-interview buyer information. I might leave it there. CC myself, so I get a copy of it for tracking purposes. I can find from my address book information. And then I can hit send. So what they're going to get is this email. So that's just one example, and I'll show you again how to put all that together. One example of how I'm using this to communicate with my clients to save me time and to not have to repeat things that I'm often repeating and putting in there. Now a little bit more advanced, not much more techy, but more advanced, is a note for my buyer. So this is a made-up one for class. So I'm talking about confidentiality and all that good stuff. But this is a note that I'm going to keep. Now remember, these notes sync now within minutes of me changing, adding, deleting, whatever. These notes are going to sync with my iPhone and my iPad, and also to Evernote.com. So I can go to anybody's computer at any time and pull up these notes about whatever I need to convey to my clients or keep track of. So follow this. I'm on my desktop on my computer here, and I have Mr. Smith as a buyer. So Mr. Smith emailed me, so I saved his email to this note. He wanted to know about a particular listing, so I clicked the listing information from the web page, which I'll show you in a minute. And now I've got all the information about that listing on this note. And again, remember, this is my file folder. This is my notes on my client that are on my iPhone, my iPad, or if I had a Droid or whatever. Now, in my company, when you leave a voicemail for me, I actually get emailed a link to the voicemail file. And also, you can use Google Voice, which will be a different tutorial, where you can download voicemail. So, in this case, Mr. Smith has left me a voicemail. And I've added it, and again, I'll show you how in a minute, to the note so that I always now have a link to his voicemail. It's stored on the cloud, but I always have the access to it on any of my devices, no matter where I am and what I'm doing. So if Mr. Smith were to leave me a voicemail, let's say Mr. Smith was a seller and he said, go ahead and reduce the price of the home, and I want it done today. Well, we all know we have paperwork to do and all those types of things. So we get our paperwork together, or some of you may even change it. I challenge you not to. But I get my paperwork together and send it to him, and then Mr. Smith calls back and says, I never told you that's what I wanted to list it at. Well, you could actually have his voicemail with you at any given time as evidence that he did, and play it back for him or whatever. I can add pictures of the property, I can add screenshots about evaluation or notes, and I can also add PDFs. So I've added a PDF of our contract. And then I've added different notes here. So just spoke to Mr. Smith again to confirm meeting at attorney's office on 12/12/12. Okay, so I'm adding my notes there. So this is already a pre-done note, but again, I have information from a web page, I have pictures I've uploaded, I have audio files I've uploaded, and I have a copy of the contract. All right here, nice and neat in this file. So now I don't need to carry any of that with me anymore. It's all now uploaded nice and neat on my web page. Now I've got a couple other things that I want to do here. So I want to title it, I'm going to add links. Tags, which you'll see here, are things that are relevant. So I'm going to put Smith, buyer, also separated by comment, and Fredericksburg. So now, because I've got those tags there, those keywords, later on when I log in and I've got tons and tons of notes for the past however many years, I can just go search for Mr. Smith. I don't remember what folder he's in or any of that stuff. Additionally, this is all very similar to, you should feel very comfortable with this. These are all the things that I can, that I seem familiar from using Word or Pages or whatever you're using for your word processing. But I can add more content. So see right here, I'm talking to you, but let's say I just have a personal note that I want to add. So I want to add a note here. I'm on the road and I could be doing this to my iPhone or the iPad. I can't type when I'm speaking, or I just want to do some dictation very quick to make a quick note here. So I'm just going to go ahead and record. Okay, so I'm now recording information that I'm saying. This is an actual audio file, and this is, again, me just repeating what I did. I'm going to hit save, and now what you'll see is added to the note is yet another audio file of our conversation. You could record your meeting with the client. You could record notes for the client for later, notes for your assistant if you needed her or him to process more information on the file, because you can share your note with someone else. All right, so here's my note. I can also click here and I can add a picture. So you're going to see here's a picture of me sitting at this desk taking and doing this class. And I can take a snapshot of what I'm doing right now. Well, that's not a very good one, so I'm not going to try that one. Let's try another one. I'm going to say keys and take a picture and click on use, and I'll add a picture right there. I can add pictures from my iPhone or from the iPad while I'm in the field as well. And then again, I can add a note or a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead, that picture is ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and find another file. It can be anything that you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I don't know what I'm going to add here. Okay, I'm just going to add a PDF for my class. So there's my PDF. All right, kind of cool. You see, I've added all that there. I'm done with the cheesy pictures. I'm done with all that kind of stuff. Now, when I click this little eye icon, there's a couple other things that I can do. I can change the title, add more keywords, do whatever I need to do. View history to see who's accessed it and when I've used it and whatever. I can share this with someone. Again, I can email this to someone. I've got all my notes here. I can save it. I can add other things. All right, so that's my note. And you can see this is all cool and all this stuff's in there and it's all in one place. Now, I'm going to let that sink. And while that's syncing, there's my notes. There's my tags. It'll show me what tags are routinely used. And I love this. This is Atlas. See, I've been all over the place here making notes. So where this had, like here, I was in Florida not too long ago. I was in Culpeper, Virginia. Virginia. So if I actually say I was at a conference and I'm just like, okay, I'm at a conference. I know I took notes. I knew I took a class. It was down in Florida. I can't remember what I did for notes. I can go to Atlas. Actually, this is Georgia, I believe it was. I can go to Atlas and it'll show me where I was when I made the note and what note I actually made, which is, I think, just amazing. Okay. Again, free. Cool price, very free. All right, so those are my notes. Now, I'm going to show you the importance of that note later on a mobile device. But right now, that's just a real quick down and dirty what my note is and what it does. Now, let's say I'm here and I'm a couple other things. I'm on a web page, and let's just say I'm at theagenttrainer.com. And I'm reading an article I like, or this is a web page I like, and I need to save it, or I would want to share it, or I want to add it to my notes. Like, I read this, and this is going to be pertinent to something I want later. So I'm just highlighting this section, not the whole article. I'm going to right-click, and then I can actually create a new note in Evernote, or I can save the URL to Evernote. So I'm going to start a new note right from scratch here in Evernote. And what you'll see is it'll pop up. Okay, and then I can keep going from there. I can also, got up here somewhere, there it is, my little elephant. And again, it'll look different on a PC, but it'll be very similar to this. You'll have this icon somewhere. I've got this stuff highlighted. I'm going to paste to Evernote. Right? And then I can start a new note in Evernote with the information I've posted there. Or, I'm sorry, that actually was something I had copied earlier. I could do the post. Sorry, that's not what I want to do. Here I want to clip the full screen or the rectangle or window I'm in. So I'm going to click the window, and it's going to allow me to create a little graphic I can add now to a note. All right. I can highlight what I want. I again go up here and click on full screen and save the screen. Anyways, you get the picture. I can save a lot of stuff just by clicking here from whenever I'm on, and I can again go in, select things, save selection to Evernote, and now what I've just selected will be added as a clip to a note in Evernote. There's my clip. I can go edit this. I can use it for information later. Maybe it's just statistics I wanted about something or about listing, whatever it is. That's what I can do. Okay? All right. So, and then of course you can start a new note in a notebook. And yes, this does a whole lot more, but these are the basics that I think you'll use as an agent. So for those who are watching this who are a little bit more advanced, I get it. I know there's other things to do. This is good basic stuff. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what it looks like on the iPad. Now imagine again that you're out and about, showing the client properties, working with another client, doing whatever. This is my iPad. This is in real time on my iPad. All right. So I open up the app on the iPad, and then I've got selections here. I can go to places. Remember we had the different maps that I showed you earlier. This looks very similar to the desktop version. I'm going to go to my notebooks. I'm going to go to notes for class. In this case, it could be your clients. Remember Mr. Smith? See, I've just pulled up Mr. Smith's note. Remember what I was doing on the computer. This is now on the iPad or my phone. And I've got all the same notes that I had when I was at my computer. But I'm not carrying anything with me other than the iPad. Here's all the same notes, all the same things. I can click here and listen to the voicemail that was left. And here's the pictures. And here's the picture that I took. Here is the note that I saved, the audio note, which I actually saved. And you may not be able to hear that in the background. Okay, but it's playing the note that I left on there. And here's my favorite part. I'm going to go into open up that contract. Remember the contract I uploaded from my computer to that note on my computer? It's now immediately on my iPad. So I have that contract, and yes, it's blank. It's because it's for training, so please don't assume that the letters aren't there. Okay, so there's that contract. Now I don't carry my files with me anymore. All I do is I'm going to upload the PDF version to Evernote. I'm going to sync it to Mr. Smith's note, and now I've got copies of my contract. And if you're a little bit more advanced, you can even do a couple things. Remember, I opened this contract out of Evernote. I'm going to now click the share button, and I can actually open this. Wait for it, in DocuSign. So I can now take that form. Let's say Mr. Smith missed an initial. So Mr. Smith's initial needs to be received. I'm actually going to open up an Evernote. I'm going to go to the form. Oops, I didn't want to email that. Sorry. So anyway, I'm not going to do it again. But you can open up an Evernote and then open up and get initials and signatures right there. Again, without any paper anywhere. Now, most people now, most agents, are scanning their contracts, keeping them on their computer and whatnot, so that they have them for, their admins or to email them in. So it should be a very simple process for you to have that form there. Now, that's just a brief overview of just a couple of the aspects of Evernote that you can use it for. Now, again, I'm a big fan of audio notes, pictures. I can share, I can send. There's just so much that can be done. But I wanted to set up this tutorial as a real basic, brief video on what you as an agent can do with this product and how you can use it. Those are just touching on a couple ways. Taking pictures and making notes while you're showing a listing, while you're taking and doing a listing presentation, while you're working with the tenants, landlords, documenting damage as property managers. The list goes on and on and on about how you can do record keeping and notes and everything else in here. They give you a good amount of space to store those things. I mean, again, at some point you'll run out and you can expand. You can pay a little bit of money to get more there. One of the setbacks for me for the free app is that you do not get your content offline. So in other words, you have to be connected to the internet to get those notes. If you pay the $50 a year, they'll be on your devices whether you're connected to the internet or not. It'll sync and store in your system. So that's well worth a couple bucks there. But this is a really, really great tool. It's very easy to use, and Evernote has just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. This is one of my favorite tools and favorite resources for just so many things, because it's not only cross-platform, but I can use it for my personal life, for church, for work, for my own classes. And you can record the class you're taking and take notes and pictures and everything else at the same time, which is really what this was, I think, originally designed for. So, I mean, you could be sitting in a session or a meeting, and while you're taking notes, also be recording the audio and taking pictures of the grease board or the presentation slides. So, again, you can let your imagination run wild, but those are just a couple examples of what I think are some good benefits for realtors and keeping track of yourselves. So thank you so much. As always, I appreciate your time, and I hope you felt it was worth the effort and the investment. And you can find me online at theagenttrainer.com or on Facebook or any of the rest of those places that we all seem to hang out at. Or you can visit me at elitescoop.com and call a Banker Elite in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Again, thanks so much. Have a great day.